We back at it. It's the PD Skills Show. Welcome back, guys. So, as always, joined by the one and only Chris Holler. How's it going, brother?
Not too bad.
So, I mean, obviously, we've got a big base in Ontario. I shouldn't say big base, but a majority of our fan base is in Ontario. So, great news for Ontario as Josh Alexander, once again, the Impact World Champion. From what you've caught of the match, what you've caught of the card, how did you feel about it?
I thought not only was it a great match, but the build was fantastic. So I think that this feud did not get enough attention over the time. And I'll admit, even from my own perspective and loosely following, and it took going back and seeing how exactly they got there. Of course, they started it off with the first time Josh Alexander won the title and dropped it right away. And they just built from that. I was worried where that would go, but I think that maybe the time away working out his contract stuff maybe helped with the storyline, and then his comeback, the family stuff. It was well executed.
I agree. I mean, if the contract negotiations, all that was, a legitimate thing, it's not a part of storylines. Yes, it absolutely did help. Totally agree. Full send on the fact that it was a great feud. And I mean, if there's anybody that's, doesn't really tune into Impact or hasn't in a while, do the rewind, watch right from Bound for Glory, all the way up to Rebellion, watch that feud and how it transpired. And it was great. It was really good. And I mean, they do say that, because I was, you were there with me. I was pissed when Josh Alexander lost so quickly. Obviously, maybe it was personal feelings about it, being an Ontario guy, that I just thought it was bullshit, but they did make it pay off in the long run. And it did. I didn't think a win over Moose would feel bigger than a win over Christian, but I think it did.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to how not only have they built Moose, but how Moose has built himself and improved over the years. And he's really homegrown talent there. And I think that's something special and, again, overlooked across the industry.
I 100% agree. I used to have absolutely zero interest in Moose as a guy who was brought in from the football world, another one of those guys. I had zero interest, but he became a professional wrestler out of fucking nowhere one day for me. And then there was a point where I was like, Moose needs to win the championship. But then they dangled Josh Alexander in front of my face. And I was like, okay, maybe Moose can wait, but Moose couldn't wait. And he didn't wait.
And that's exactly right. And it still worked out from there after that. So where they go from now will be interesting because I think there's still some momentum in that feud that you want to maybe continue with and have some.
And that's kind of what I want to talk about is, where to go next. And I mean, historically, face champions don't have the best runs. I mean, the money, you hear it a million times, the money is in the chase. How do you feel they could do this well, like as far as pushing this feud more? Because I do agree that the feud should be pushed a little further. Normally, like once I get what I want out of a feud, I'm good with it being done. But they've managed to stick to the cash-in and a standard wrestling match.
Yeah,
I think left money on the table.
I think that's one of the things you have to do with a face champion. It's true that we've had a weak streak of world champions in the sense of not staying over with the crowd. So somebody wants wrestler A to finally capture this title, they win it, you deserve it, and then just goes flat after that. And I'm a fan, but I'll just point out as an obvious example with Adam Page, Hangman Adam Page. That's kind of how his reign has gone. It's happened to plenty of others over the time, but just the most recent one to come to mind, where he's had some bangers of matches, but he just failed to capture the attention in that main event scene of the audience.
And I mean, we've seen it with Chris Benoit was one of the first examples of it, where it was someone that people wanted to see hold the title for so long, and when he did, I mean, there wasn't much to do afterwards.
Right.
And then, Randy Orton, when Randy Orton was a face and won the title, again, everybody wanted him to win the title, but once he got it, it was done. And more recently, Seth Rollins was a huge one.
Exactly. And look at the contrast between him as face champion versus a heel champion and the difference of those runs. So it is a lot about the booking. And I think that one thing that they failed to do is to continue to send that face obstacles, meaningful obstacles for them to overcome.
Legitimate threats too.
Exactly. And we had that, I would say, back in, let's say, the Bret Hart days. Not only was it he was a face in terms of being a face of the people, a hard worker, someone who's very talented at his craft, which is how a lot of faces get put over. But then he was also put against larger opponents and had matches where his championship would be in doubt, and those matches would elevate his title run and his defenses of not just saying you're a fighting champion, but actually just doing the thing, and over time building that credibility and bringing that prestige to the championship, like Bret Hart did as a face.
Would you agree that it's almost because every face champion seems to have the storyline of I'm the champion, all comers are welcome, who's next, and then rinse, lather, repeat?
Exactly. I think that's exactly the attitude that a lot of them have. And then a lot of the ones that have been successful as face champions still had the mixed reactions from the crowd and the haters. John Cena, he was definitely a face champion and a very successful one, but he was still, booed by many in the crowd, and still getting that mixed reaction. So it's been a long time since I feel like we had that pure face reaction on the level of
the funny thing is
Austin or Stone Cold or Rock.
Yeah, no, Austin was going to be my example, which is to an extent like because he was the badass baby face, but I feel like that's the formula that we're forever chasing because you never knew if Austin was going to lose the title. It did seem in jeopardy at any time.
Maybe that's another thing too, that they need faces to still have an edge to them. So they're not a bad guy in the traditional sense, but they're also not like a pushover, maybe not one to, easily fall for a distraction of someone in danger, something like that, something that Austin wouldn't fall for, right?
Yeah.
And unless you're driving a car. But anyway, so you need that formula of an obstacle for the champion to continue to fight, and they have to present themselves in a different way, I think, and not in this I'm a champion, I'll take on all comers. That's old and done. They still need something to fight for and to defend that title.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely agree. I mean, right now, WWE's in the safe zone. They've got both their titles on one heel.
Yeah, one heel that's working as a face in terms of how his popularity with the crowd.
Yeah.
Where normally we have,
but it'd be a mistake to mistake that as the time to make him a face, because it's nowhere near.
No,
I don't
exactly.
think no one will like him as a face. It's
not at this time. If there is a time for that, it's not right now. What they're doing is great. It's just very different for WWE to have the heel as your main
as the face of the
banner
company
holder. Exactly, the face of the company, and the one representing you as champion. Like even Roman Reigns is still doing media appearances almost as if he was a face, but as a heel, and now that's what they had to do.
And I mean, we'll go into obviously WWE's got it under wraps with a current heel run, but I mean, let's look at Impact and let's look at AEW. I mean, AEW right now, we'll start there. Adam Page, face champion, is suffering from some of these things that we're discussing, where the championship run seems to be a little lacking because there's no thrill. But now they're going towards what seems to be CM Punk, which would be a face versus face.
That could be an issue, but again, with AEW, I think that they have the ability to pull off those types of feuds with a story, as long as it's not extended. and it's for a purpose such as that. But with a ranking system, it's not always, it's hard to make it always perfect to have a heel as the number one contender and or vice versa, depending on who the champion is. And we're going to run into situations like that, and it should present some interesting scenarios that we don't typically see. And that big face versus face one would be great. I just don't want to see it turn into what some of these veteran wrestlers feuds have been, where it's, I have a picture with you as a kid and now I want to fight you and beat you. I don't want it to be like that. I don't
It
want
worked well with CM Punk and MJF,
exactly,
but don't go to the well again.
exactly. And Adam Page has to, I think, stand up to Punk at that moment and declare that he is currently the best in the world and he's open to challenge him for it. But Adam Page is at the top of the mountain, and I think he needs that confidence. His character being the anxious millennial hinders that a little bit, where when you need, just like Bret Hart, that confidence of a champion, where even outside of the show, you believe you're a champion. And I don't think that Adam Page gives off that aura right now, but this is an opportunity for that with CM Punk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great opportunity. But do you think that they're in the midst of the feud gonna switch them?
Which one?
Page.
I don't think it's a time for Page. I think
you think it's time for the love fest to be over?
Changing the alignment of a character just because you think that's not working as it is now, while the person is still a champion or on top, I don't think it's good to do that unless it makes sense. And I don't think it makes sense for that, or just to make this feud be, more opposite. I don't see that. I could see Punk maybe wrestling more of a rougher style to get to play as the heel in the match and be more of a tweener, be a little bit more putting down Adam Page and then getting the sympathy for Page that way, but still, not a total turn where he can, go back to things afterwards. They can have respect after the match that will eventually happen, but I don't think that one of them needs to turn for this to happen,
for it to work.
Yeah.
Now,
not with the players involved.
The one thing I would say is they can tap into that with this feud and CM Punk and all the hype and clamor that comes with it. They could tap into Adam Page's self-doubt again, the stuff that got him over to start with.
Yes, but this time I think he has to overcome it, fully overcome it, and become almost a new Adam Page. This has been good right now, but now he's got
to become a confident champion.
Yes, that confidence is key.
And then we flip over to Impact. So the Impact with Josh. Now Josh is more of the wrestler's wrestler, the traditional wrestler, the guy is really good, and his skill set is at that level where he has a championship skill set. But then where do you go?
With Josh Alexander and Impact, I think that, like I said earlier, Moose and him could have another match at the next pay-per-view within this feud. I do think that Josh should retain after that, and he could go on with a feud, fighting against maybe various ROH. I'm forgetting the name, what they call themselves.
Honor No More.
Honor No More. And I think those can be some interesting matches and feuds there. Maybe even Moose and teams up with him afterwards to help them. There's a lot of things that they could do while keeping Moose still highlighted, but not the main focus. But put Josh out there as that fighting champion, and again, on the sense of I'm the fighting champion, but just giving him those matches and those opportunities.
The one thing I feel, as much as I know it'll be a good match every time, I don't want them to go to the Eddie Edwards route, because that seems to be Impact's failsafe.
I think it's going to be inevitable, especially if they do that Honor No More feud. It's going to end with Eddie Edwards against him. but I don't think that he should beat him. I think that it should be basically maybe Eddie's last run at that title there. That's no knock on Eddie Edwards or anything, but it's time for Impact, I think, to bring up more fresh faces to that level, as we saw with Moose finally making it, and now Josh Alexander. So yeah, and the options are limitless. And like just a personal thing, like with Josh Alexander, I just have to say on here that I had the privilege of working with him in his second or third ever match. Scrawny kid, had a spiky little blonde hair. He stood out from even his tag team partner and other people that were in that match. And eventually I brought him into Sensei Wrestling just like a couple months later, again, so early in his career.
He was still Jay Phoenix when you brought him.
He was still Jay Phoenix. And, no offense to his tag partner, but I brought them for him. Just he had not just the skill, but he had the attitude right away. And he was not just a great kid at the time, but he had seemed to have the right head on his shoulders to where he could make this a career. So,
and what's funny is he'll tell you back then as Jay Phoenix that he was out to fucking lunch.
Yeah, well, in terms of, I guess, his attitude, and at least around me, and who knows, yeah.
Oh yeah, always a good attitude. But he's a good dude.
Right. But still, that goes a long way, especially when you're young and everything. And he just grew from that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is it's been a long time coming, and I don't know if people realize how long he's been going at it. And I would like to see that focused on more too in Impact, that the journey that he's taken to get to this level. Moose came from another sport.
He actually did touch on that in an interview recently, because when he debuted with Impact, they had a lot of vignettes, stuff like that. He was supposed to debut as a single star, and we missed out on a lot of that. So hopefully, like you said, maybe now they circle back to that in some of the video packages leading up to things. I mean, whether it be they need that next big star to go head to head with him so you can kind of compare stories or whatever it is. But I do agree, we do need to see that history.
Yeah, because he has a great story to tell, and how he not just transformed his wrestling, but his body as well. Again, just from a scrawny Canadian kid, and now
he went from scrawny and young to filling out a little bit and putting on some weight in the
and having that look,
in the 20s, and then but when he first filled out, he got chubby for a bit, and then he just slimmed out, and then he just puffed up like a machine.
Yeah, and so I just want to say, like, it's well deserved, and it's a good story, and it's nice when we get to see again those homegrown champions like Impact's been doing lately. So yeah, 20 years too. Impact, isn't that crazy that they're celebrating their 20th anniversary?
That's crazy. That
is wild.
They're at their 20th anniversary. Randy Orton for Monday Night Raw, which would have been last night when this airs. That's 20 years.
Yeah, we're getting old.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've got hopes that they can make these. I mean, for AEW, change the pace of their face run. And then for Impact, obviously, this is a fresh start. I'm full in for a rematch with Moose. Obviously, there needs to be some sort of stipulation put into place or something, and
that could be great too. That's a good opportunity for that.
Because their second match was their first match,
really. Right? Exactly. I'm talking almost as if it's a trilogy, but yeah, really, it's
because we got away with a very small part one. We've left room for the fatter parts of the story.
And I would like to see an interesting gimmick. I'm a gimmick match fan, and that's why TNA in its past holds a very special place in my heart. I'm not saying that they're all winners like the Reverse Battle Royal or anything, but I like experimenting with wrestling and matches, and Impact's always been good with that. And I think that they don't have to invent something new or anything, but They could
Honestly,
come up with
for
a good
them,
grudge match
for them,
them.
I just want a last man standing. I want to go nice and
Last man
classic.
standing would be fine.
That's when this ends.
Yeah, I would say I quit, but they're doing that in WWE with Ronda and Charlotte this month, so not good timing for that. But yeah, just a real last man standing match, not Texas Death Match, anything like that. Just a regular last man standing there. Or do you think that they could do an Iron Man? They went close to 25 minutes in this most recent match.
They did, but it's not the type of fight for an Iron Man match, in my opinion. It's not the type of feud for an Iron Man match to me is, and I mean I'm gonna start saying this, and they're gonna fit the bill, but it's prime athletes just going at it from a competitive standpoint, where it's about being the best. And I think the match we just had was about being the best. The next match needs to be about fucking killing somebody.
Yeah, and I could go that way too. Yeah, it just needs that ferocity in it, I guess, for the next one. But yeah, I would have liked to see Josh say like, okay, yeah, you've shown that you can beat me, like, by hitting me by surprise and everything. You could beat me, but can you outlast me?
Yeah, 100%. And that's a great way to go about it, because and like we said, part of the problem is always the thrill of the chase. We're now at the point where it's about what everybody else wants and not what Josh wants. So I feel like if they can make it that this is what Josh wants, that's when it's a win. Like, even if they reverse roles to an extent where Moose wants a rematch and D'Amore says he's got to earn it and he loses his shit and he gets suspended. Except this time it's Josh that goes, no, you bring him back, and have him fuck around and run in and make Josh's life miserable. And then, similar to when Cena told McMahon, you bring back Punk, you have Josh say, you bring back Moose, because we're going to fucking settle this.
I think you kind of hit it there, that you need a face champion that can call their shot, that can be that demanding.
You have to have a champion. Your champion still needs goals.
Yeah, and Adam Page, I don't see him as, in his position right now, let's just say, seeing a really cool scene where like he stands up to Tony Khan or anything, and really comes at him fierce, demanding, CM Punk, I want his blood, just making your face, but you just they need some edge. I think that's what I said at the beginning. Like, they just need some edge, like Austin provided, Cena did at first with Ruthless Aggression, and then in those moments, those were some of Cena's most successful times. Weren't when he was just being silly and everything for the family and all that. It's when he really stood up as a strong competitor and got some of those other guys on his side, and that's what we need. And maybe it's just, again, the generation thing that but it's not enough just to be the best wrestler to carry a company.
Well, I mean, high hopes though. We'll see what goes on with with these upcoming feuds. Fresh feud for Alexander, obviously pending, unless they're going to wrap this one up. The Punk feud for Page, that's a fresh one there. We'll have to watch, see how they unwrap. I've got high hopes. I think everybody's in a position as far as the rosters go to put on compelling television. So I guess it's just a way to see from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And well, I think that this is to pivot a little bit, but I thought that for this week, we don't usually go, outside the box too much, but, I want to shake things up a little bit. So I have some questions for you. I want to test your knowledge a little bit. I have some questions prepared. So I try to keep them not easy, but within your realm, we'll say.
Okay.
And I think that you should probably ace this. Let's just say, I think that you can. So we'll see if you can answer them, and people at home, you can answer them too, or just Google as I ask, and
See how wrong I
we'll
am.
see how you do. So, first question I have for you is, and again, this is tailor made for you. Okay.
All right.
Who is Paul Diamond's tag partner in the tag team American Force?
Paul Diamond's tag team partner in the tag team American Force. I'm taking an L on this one. I have no idea.
I'll allow hints.
All right, I'll take a hint.
This was part of Texas All-Star Wrestling, and they were 2-time tag team champions.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not strong at Texas All-Star Wrestling.
The answer then? Are you giving up?
I'm giving up on that one.
Tapping?
I have no history knowledge of them.
Not phone a friend or anything? All right, fine. So the first one, the tag team of American Force was Paul Diamond and Shawn Michaels.
Oh, see, and I should have known that.
You
now I know
should
why
have
you say it was
known
tailored to
that.
me. I just felt like
Right.
if I just would have thrown that out there, that it would have been like Madagascar.
No. All right, next one, ready?
Mhm.
Who defeated JBL to rid himself of being JBL's employee in an all or nothing match at No Way Out 2009?
Well, that one's Shawn Michaels.
Ding, ding, ding. I don't have a sound effect, but he's got that right. So you're getting this. All right, now we're going to go harder, okay?
Okay.
Can't all be, This wrestler appeared in 3 separate beach-themed TV shows during the 90s and 2000s.
Is it Shawn Michaels?
Correct. I'll give you bonus points, though, if you can name any or all of those shows.
Baywatch?
Baywatch is one.
What else was there then? I don't know any other beach shows.
See, we're pivoting a little bit. Pacific Blue. He was in 2 episodes of that. And then South Beach, I believe in 2006, or I don't know. No one watched it. All right. So next one. You ready?
Yeah.
This wrestler was part of one of the most legendary stables in wrestling history. They made the WrestleMania debut in a tag team match at WrestleMania 5, was PWI's Rookie of the Year, Hall of Famer, a WWE Hall of Famer, and trained by Jose Lothario.
Well, I mean, that's also Shawn Michaels.
Hey, let me finish. In the last few years, he has become a mentor to younger talent.
That's Shawn Michaels. I'm getting real scared because who was it?
You're wrong. It's Tully Blanchard.
Oh, you motherfucker. You were lining me up.
The Brainbusters also debuted at WrestleMania 5, and he was trained by Jose Lothario.
You were lining me up with all the Shawn Michaels ones. I was waiting for it to be like something straight up ignorant where I was forced to give the correct answer of Shawn Michaels.
And then swerve, it's Tully Blanchard.
Swerved with Tully.
All right, I'll give you a bonus one to redeem yourself then.
All right.
Who was also known as the Man with No Name, Dizzy Golden, and Brute Force?
Oh my God. Like, it can't be Shawn Michaels.
Not.
Because I mean, Brute Force is just never. What are the names again?
The Man with No Name, Dizzy Golden, and Brute Force.
Dizzy Golden. It's the Dizzy one that's sticking. Oh, fuck. Just hit me with it. I'm going to instant regret.
The man known as Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
That's what it was. The Dizzy one's the one that got me going, and I'm like, oh, at least you didn't publicly shame me about the disciple.
Well, that's what I love. Any Ed Leslie trivia that could throw you off, where the answer is always Ed Leslie, but it's not. So in this case, it was about Shawn Michaels, but I had to throw an Ed Leslie one in there.
Well, there we go. See, so I did terrible, just as expected.
Hey, you knew the beach shows, so
well, yeah, clearly I spend all my time at the beach.
Okay, I don't have all the answers for this, but can you name any other wrestlers that appeared on Baywatch?
No, I don't. I've watched a lot of Baywatch too, but I mean, not for the wrestlers.
Giant Gonzalez appeared on there.
Oh, shit.
That's one I remember. And Vader and Ric Flair did their beach. They had a beach match.
Yeah,
thing or
I figured
something.
Hulk Hogan was stuck
Filmed
with
it on
Thunder in
there.
Paradise. He couldn't appear on any other beach show.
Then yeah, it could have also been Hulk Hogan potentially with that answer. And then The Rock was in the Baywatch the movie.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's correct. That one I would have known. I
Yeah,
actually thought that was pretty decent to be honest.
It was a decent show, yeah, or movie.
You know, for Baywatch.
Anyways, thank you for participating in the first ever spontaneous Holler trivia minute, we'll say.
It's a working name. Working name. Name in progress. Working name in progress.
Name in progress. Yeah, I think you did well.
Yeah, I guess that'll wrap it for this week. Hey guys, if you're looking for some wrestling this weekend, come check me out. This Saturday, I will be in Hamilton for PWO Redemption. Green Door Studio. Make sure you check it out. That's going to be my debut there. And then rolling into the next day in Oshawa for New Frontier. You can check me out there. It's pick your poison. I get to pick Kyle's opponent. He gets to pick mine. Whoever wins in the shortest amount of time gets to pick the stipulation for when I finally get my hands on that little degenerate piece of shit. But yeah, check me out this weekend. Buy a t-shirt, all that good stuff. Follow me at PD Skillz Show. Like, subscribe, share. You know how it is. I'm PD Skillz. This is Chris Holler. And we're getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.